It gives me great pleasure to welcome Jim Loughran to the podium for the presentation of the Lifetime Coaches Achievement Award. Jim?
Table 22, be quiet, please. All right, tonight I have the pleasure of introducing the 2025 Old Timers Youth Sports Alliance Coaching Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Pat Coleman. Here we go. Born in Woodside, Queens, raised in Manhasset, Long Island, Pat grew up in a full house, being the fifth of 12 children. In high school, Pat first attended the Canterbury School and his last 2 years at the Friends Academy. Throughout high school, Pat played football, wrestling, and lacrosse. In his senior year, he captained all three sports. From Friends, Pat chose Boston College to continue his academic and athletic career. At BC, Pat was a 4-year starter on the varsity lacrosse team. In his senior year, he was second leading scorer behind his roommate, our very own Eugene Miller. After college, Pat's professional career took him to Wall Street to work in finance, initially at First Boston and then to Credit Suisse. After a stint living in New York City, Pat moved out to Old Greenwich in 1995, and there he raised their 3 children, Patrick, now 32, Lindsay, 24, and Shay, 15. Shay. The 2 oldest graduated from Greenwich High School, and Shay is there now as their sophomore year. In the mid-1990s, Pat began his journey with the Greenwich Youth Lacrosse program. Along with Dick Pace, an Old Timers honoree, his former roommate Eugene Miller, who was also an Old Timers Coaching Lifetime Award recipient, the 200-player OGRCC League morphed into the GYFL. GYL, sorry, Coach. God, I'm so used to doing the football. Can't get it out of me, it's terrible. God, I'm sorry. For 30 years, Pat served as both a coach and dedicated board member of the GYL. As a president for the last 25 years, Pat has been instrumental in making the GYL the largest town-based program in USA lacrosse. Today, there are 1,200 plus boys, girls who participate in both the house leagues and travel teams. The philosophy Pat, Dick, and Eugene had established of no cuts and all kids having a chance to play is still in practice today. With over 10,000 plus, way plus, kids going through the program, he makes it known that none of this could be possible without the 200 plus volunteers and coaches that work in his program each year. Beyond Greenwich, Pat and the GYL helped develop the Connecticut-New York Lacrosse League. For 20 years, Pat has served on the Connie Executive Board. Pat is most proud of his push to developing the girls' game. 15 years ago, he was instrumental in establishing the Connie's first state tournament game. Pat is also coaching the GBA, the OGRCC Girls Basketball League, and the GYFL Putnam Generals. All right. Most notably with Rick Stafford and Jimmy Cabrera, to this day, Pat loves retelling stories of Rick Stafford's coaching exploits. Nice job, Staff. One of Pat's proudest endeavors is serving on the National Board for the Children of Fallen Patriots, supporting college education for children of fallen servicemen and women. He is also the chair of the Greenwich chapter. Pat has been a close friend and advisor to me for the last 16 plus years when I had coached and was president of the Youth Football League. To have someone to turn to for advice, to vent, and to collaborate was invaluable. Right now we're going to do a quick video for Pat, and then we'll get Pat up here to get going.
That's pretty crazy. Good evening, all. I'd like to congratulate my fellow honorees, Mary Beth Fratello, John Loughran, and my very close family friend, John Sullivan. Well deserved. You can clap for him. Can I ask all those who have ever played, coached, or had a child or sibling in Greenwich Youth Lacrosse to please stand up? Anyone? Okay, give yourself a round of applause. My dear friend Jim had it almost right. The program is over 1,500 kids with 200 volunteer coaches, which is pretty crazy. GYL is a special program because of its people. Like I said, there's nearly 200 volunteers who dedicate, support, and are passionate for the game, and they're there for the 1,500 players. Tonight's about celebrating and thanking all of you across all youth sports. I was gonna say a couple of nice words about Donald Moore, who I've spoken to maybe 5,000 times in my 30 years, but he's not here tonight, which is a shame. But he stiffed me on Greenwich High allocation, so screw him. No, I say that. Donald is wonderful. He's been a great friend to the program, but he has screwed me on the stadium allocation. Yeah. And by the way, thank God we're not at the Civic Center anymore. As I drove in tonight, I saw the ducks paddling around on the field. It's a shame we can't take care of that field there, but that's where it all started for a lot of us old-timers for Greenwich Youth Lacrosse. So for the last few weeks, I've received some very nice and wonderful congratulatory texts and calls, but one stands out from a former player that I'd like to read. His name is Xander Dixon, and some of you may not know, but in 2028, the Olympics are gonna host their first ever play for lacrosse. It'll be an exhibition. Xander's one of 24 kids in the hunt, and he's probably gonna make it. So that the text the other day goes like this. This is me. Xander, you coming to my big night on Friday? Xander, yo, sorry, I have a dinner that I'm locked into, unfortunately. What's with all these awards? These guys have any clue who you really are? Me, settle down, Niedermeyer. How's your broken leg? Is this jeopardizing your Olympic tryout? Xander, you're looking for a speech material like last time. Leg is healing, and I'm still in the mix. It's down to 24 of us. I have no idea who they'll take in the end. It's either make the team or be single for the rest of my life. I seriously told the director that. Me, money's on you. God bless that poor woman who thinks you're the man. I'm still scratching my head about how bad you were in 8th grade to become one of the best players in the world. Xander replies, honestly, I do too, but it must have come down to finally having a good coach. Miss you, man, congrats. Tonight I want to share some memorable anecdotes that will stay with me forever and why I do it. K through 4 House League. This is the cornerstone of our program. And I can think of one person, and that's Dan Corbush. Danny Corbush is a legendary girls' house league coach. So 20 or so years ago, Dan's coaching a 3rd grade house league game for one of his daughters, and he comes running over to me during one of the sessions. He's got his whistle around his neck, his coach's shirt on. He's like, hey, Patty, how do we rotate players? Now, he's got that look. And I told him, well, keep it balanced, rotate positions, make sure they all get in, make sure they all have fun. He's like, yeah. He starts to tell me that his co-coach, whose name escapes him, isn't following the plan. At this point, Dan's eyeballs are starting to come out of his socket. And he says this guy with the horn-rimmed glasses doesn't quite get it. Patty, his name must be Thurston or Winthrop, and he's really pissing me off. Dan's now circling me like a matador and says, I'm gonna wait for Wellington just outside the parking lot, unless this is against the GYL Code of Conduct. I guess these guys know what I'm talking about. I feel like I could be telling plumber jokes right now. All right. So just know I reassigned that coach to another team. It's all good. Coaching chemistry and responsibilities. Remember, I also coached rather unsuccessfully the Putnam Generals, the GBA, and the OGRCC women's basketball. So around the same time, 20 or so years ago, Rick Stafford, Jimmy Cabrera, and I coached the Putnam Generals. On day one, Rick looks at me and says, "You're the head coach of our 5th and 6th grade team, and here's how it's going to work. You organize the schedule, the team emails, you lead the warm-ups, you do the speech for the team at the banquet. Oh, and you deal with the crazy parents. And I call all the plays." That's no joke. Things I will remember until the day I die, and things I won't. I won't remember Jimmy Cabrera, who was a high school and Duke University lacrosse All-American, but I will remember Jimmy coaching the 3rd and 4th grade Glamour Division with Jimmy Knight, with his son Jake on his shoulders most times. All the crazy parents around him were barking at him, never flustered. I won't remember Danny Goggins' 30 years of off and on coaching in GYL, but I'll remember him calling me one day a few years ago, telling me his son Bobby had enlisted and would love to coach GYL travel until he goes to basic training. God bless Bobby. Along with Bobby, we had Patrick Robin, Elizabeth Robin, Miles Cass, Jackson Peters, and last year, Margaret Williams graduated from West Point. She was a GYL player. She was a Rhodes Scholar. So we're all proud of those people. I won't remember the times I had with my lifelong friend and blood brother, Eugene Miller, but I will remember him telling me at my first GYL tryouts in sub-zero weather, while he was wearing shorts showcasing his hairless chicken legs, that if the evaluation comes down to a tie, Pat, just look at the player's family to break the tie. And I won't say anything else. I won't remember my good friend Jim Loughran's contribution to Greenwich, to GYFL, youth sports, and Greenwich High football. But I will remember him telling me when his son James played on my 8th grade lacrosse team, "He's a project, and he's all yours. Do what you want with him, and let me know if he's an issue." For the record, we had a spectacular season with James, and he idolized his young defensive coach, Bobby Sullivan. Actually, that year I had the All-Prozac coaching staff in Bobby Sullivan, James Kiernan, Ryan Benacasa, and Akel Nanu Ashra. I won't remember Rob Sherman, his role as a board member or coach, but I will remember the day we were playing down in the league on Long Island when he grabbed my arm and said he almost blacked out from yelling so loud. I won't remember his son Wiley as captain of Harvard hockey and drafted by the Bruins, but I'll remember that 8th grade year, every time Wiley was in a line shift, telling me to keep his lunatic dad away from him. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I won't remember that Cooper and Hank Cleves both start for undefeated Dartmouth hockey as brothers, but I will remember Hank scoring the tying goal in the greatest Connecticut championship game with a behind-the-back shot, and then looking at the goalie and asking him if he wanted another. I won't remember the less than 10% of the players that make an A team, but I will remember the more than 90% that don't, but come back every year because of volunteers like you that make it very special for them. I won't remember Old Timers Coaches Award, Allison Knight, for being a three-sport varsity athlete at St. Lawrence University in field hockey, ice hockey, and lacrosse. But I will remember her as one of the greatest partners I could have, and for running women's lacrosse for so many years and coaching girls without a daughter on her team. Why am I blessed? I am blessed to have had Maureen O'Shea, Allison Coleman, Lisa Hurst, Allison Knight, Katie Johnson, and Sarah O'Connor create the most successful women's youth program in the country, with nearly 54% of the membership now comprised of girls. I'm blessed that Sam Connor, Charlie Glazier, Tony McLeod, and so many others created the foundation and path that allowed GYL to succeed. I'm blessed to have the greatest collection of women coaches ever in the great Sarah Seapot, Lori Downs, Lindsay Darrow, Kate Lochran, Jordan Stefanovich, Lindsay Potter, Marcy Malloy, Lori Caputo, Icy Franz, Diana Cray, and so many others. And on the boys' side, Brady Miller, and yes, our own Dickie B, Richard Benacasa, Carl Marinaccio, Connie Champion and undefeated Dee Lawrence, Brian Tunney, and Bravo Company's finest, Billy Ellsworth. I'm particularly blessed that my grandfather, Andrew Smoller, is the general manager of the boys' 6B team, and with him are Josh Hufford, Sean Lavin, and Jim, I think I put one or too many players in, Perry. I'm blessed to have coached boys 8A with the legendary Scott Blogger, who was a three-time first-team All-American and won 2 national championships in my 18 years doing it. I was equally blessed to coach with Kevin Driscoll, one of my childhood buddies, and Marco Kostovic. Marco, stand up. Marco's a Bronze Star. Marco's a Bronze Star medalist. He played and was All-American at West Point. He's a true hero, and he's one of my closest friends. I also coached with the legendary Will Swindell, Jack Harrington, Willie Perry, and the great David Chang. I'm almost done, so settle down. I'm blessed to have so many wonderful families come through like an endless parade. These families gave me tremendous material to write the hundreds of emails about their kids, some entitled, "Is Tommy Feeder around here?" Yeah, there he is. The Amazing Adventures of Jack Fida, Clayton Ostrover, Evan Stroud, Let's Ask Yoda, and one of my favorites, Yes, Mrs. Jones, about a crazy Greenwich parent. But my favorite was, if I locked 4 8A moms and dads in a room, who'd come out? I'm blessed to have logged tens of thousands of miles with the players in the car ride of dreams and playing on Field 4, otherwise known as Coleman Stadium. I'm blessed with the partners on our board, Chris Collins, Marty DeAndrea, Amy Adorney, Joe Roberta, Brad Newberth, Andy Stern, Lauren Bachmeyer, the great Tommy O'Connor. Where's Tommy? Right there, Greenwich High's best, right there. Eugene Miller, Andy Schmoller, and Craig Wingrove. Craig can't be here tonight. His mom passed, but I can tell you that he's been invaluable to me. He's been the wizard behind the curtain, and I could not do it without him. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to the table that's representing my family. Unfortunately, Joe Dowling and Bob Swindell, 2 of my closest friends, cannot be here, but these are 2 people that have stood by me forever. Tony DeAndrea is representing the great Martha DeAndrea, who's been my wing person for 25 years, and I love her, and she's fantastic. Dick and Richard Pace. There he is. Dick, stand up. Dick was in Special Forces. He's been a mentor to me. He's one of my closest friends. He's really responsible for the modern day formation of GYL with Eugene Miller. And one of the greatest coaches we had is his son, Richard Pace. I'm also honored to have two great friends, solid as oak, Joe and Linda Delgado, with four amazing boys who've come through the program, and they've stood by me too, and I thank you. You're wonderful. Let me just finish, if we could just keep it quiet for a second. If everyone could just keep it quiet. There's two very special people that have flown in, one from California and one from Florida. David and Cynthia Kim. Many people don't realize, some of you know them, but many people don't realize that they had both their sons play in GYL. They co-founded the Children of the Fallen Patriots. Listen up. They identified 12,000 of 25,000 children whose parents have died in the line of duty and created an organization. They've sent 4,000 to college and have raised $100 million in that effort. And I'm honored you're here, and I'm thrilled that you are my friend. They're true heroes, and they're my role models. Their son, Seth, is a Navy SEAL recruit. Their son, Whit, is a first lieutenant, having graduated from West Point, and their daughter, Molly, is a second lieutenant, having graduated from West Point. And to the closest people to me, my son, Patrick, who's my rock and my best friend, and his beautiful wife, Anna. My daughters, Shay and Lindsay, are the apples of my eye, and I'm so proud of them. Tyler, too. And in closing, I quote the great Lou Gehrig in his last speech at Yankee Stadium. Tonight, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth with friends and family like you. Thank you.